Check, check, check. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully you guys can hear this. But what is good, guys? Welcome back to another video. First of all, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support. Like the support in the last video for the How I Vlog series or the kickoff of the series. Bruh, 10 out of 10. Thank you guys so much. And that's why I'm making this video. So this is the second part of the series. The first video we went through like how I vlog, kind of the basics of it and why you should vlog. That's what the whole first video was about. And if you didn't watch it, I'm gonna like link it somewhere up here. But for this video, what I want to do is I want to go over how I vlog, quote unquote, cinematically, more so how I like to document my life in a way that, you know, it's kind of my way of expressing my creative outlet and making it so it's not just a come with me type of vlog. What I'll cover today is I'll break down all my camera gear, like the drones, the different cameras I use, the tripods, and then I'll also go over my editing process, my color grading process, how I like to color grade and stay consistent with this YouTube thing, and then just my thought process behind like storytelling and how I build my vlogs nowadays. So it's my process again with all my videos. I like to show you what I do, not how to do it perfectly, because by no means do I claim myself to be a cinematographer or anything of that sort. I'm really just a guy who likes to record videos, and I happen to play around with some settings on my camera and some filming techniques and, you know, editing that makes it look a little bit more pretty, but I am no means a filmmaker or cinematographer. I never went to school for it. Everything is self-taught on YouTube and just experiment. So it's what I like my videos to look like, and I hope you guys take some sort of value from this video. If you guys are here for cinematography information, this probably won't be the video for you, but if you guys are here because you're interested in vlogging and you want to document your life and you want to spice things up a little bit, then this video might be for you. But on that note, right now I have a 9-mile run to do. Bruh, just now I left these shoes over by that bench area and some guy came up and almost stole them. I saw him riding away with his bike holding these, and I was like, bruh, those are my shoes. Luckily he was like the nicest guy ever, but I know he was trying to snag them. It's gorgeous outside right now. It is perfect running conditions. Whew. Now to everyone's favorite part, camera gear. So I'm going to show you guys all the camera gear I use. I pretty much use everything I have here, but I do want to say that I invest a lot of money into camera gear, and I know that a lot of people might not have the funds to do so, and you don't need all of this to make cinematic content, but I think they do help to an extent. So I'm gonna show you guys everything I use, from my camera lenses, the tripods and everything, and how it comes together. I showed you guys last time already, but my camera is the Sony ZV-E1, and right now I have attached to it the 11mm Sony f1.8. The reason why I got this lens was because right now it's punched into 1.5 times and it works very well, right? This is probably like 15 to 16 millimeters, but I got this mostly because if you zoom out, you see these right here, it gives it like a slightly unique look that it lets you switch up the image without having to put on a different lens. So that's why I like it for vlogging, because it just gives you some variety. Then the mic I have on right now is the Sony ECM B1M. I believe that's the version, but it's the Sony shotgun mic. And the ND filter I have on, which is this sunglasses for the lens, It is the Freewell ND filter. I think it's the mist one. So that's what I have on this camera right now. Now the other lenses I use, so today what I was shooting with all morning was this. This is the 24 to 70. This is the Sigma lens. And because I have this, I'm okay with having a fixed lens that's just a wide angle. And plus, like I said, you can always crop in and crop out. I also do have this. This is the 16 millimeter f1.8 that I got a couple months back. I really love this lens and I've been debating if I want to keep it or not, but the quality on this one I think is a little bit better than this. You don't need to have a zoom lens if you have like a mirrorless camera like this, because typically when you zoom in, the clear image zoom can zoom 1.5 times on this camera. So if you think about it, any type of fixed lens like this can technically go 1.5 times closer. That's why I have the fixed wide angles and I have this for more of the tighter shots like you saw this morning. Then for my other cameras, I use a DJI Mini 4. This is the drone I use. Honestly, it works perfectly. There's no reason for me to upgrade, and yeah, I love it. And then also I use the Osmo Pocket 3. This also doesn't get much use unless I'm traveling or if I'm in a really tight space. But lately I've just been using this camera everywhere I go. And then the third camera is the iPhone. I've been using this a lot. Like if you ever see the running content, like it's really just the most handy thing possible and it can do so much. This is the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Now, as far as mic goes, like I told you, this is a shotgun mic. The nice thing with shotgun mics are that you can just plug it in, and with the Sony ones, you can plug it in and you don't have to deal with like changing the gain or anything like that. You just know that when you plug it in, it's gonna work. The other mic I've been loving is the DJI Mic 3. I've been using this the last 2 weeks and I literally love this mic. I also bought this little adapter, which is a Sony hot shoe adapter. So this lets you attach it to the top of the Sony cameras without you having to, again, use a cord or anything like that. It's just nice and convenient. I've been loving the wireless mic, one, because this quality of the audio is very, very nice. And it's honestly just so much more convenient. Like, I like doing this once in a while, but honestly, when you're vlogging, you want the freedom to like go a little bit further back and talk. And the farther I get, the more off the audio is gonna sound. So this mic is amazing if you just want to do this type of content, but a lot of times if you're trying to make like cinematic content, you're gonna want to be a little bit further away from the camera. Like you guys saw in the intro of this video, how I was all the way by the benches, but I was able to talk and it was still clean audio. That's why you want this. And I won't lie, when I was in London, what I did was I kept my adapter on the camera and then I had my mic attached to me the whole time. And all I did was turn on the mic every single time I was gonna talk, or I just had it attached the whole time and it just ran for the whole day. For tripods and mounts, so I figured I'd show you these two really quickly, but this is a car mount. This is what I have attached inside my car whenever I wanna get like rolling shots inside or outside. It's honestly a super useful tool. And then this is a clamp. I haven't used this in a while, but it lets you just clamp things on. If you are on like a train and you attach this to like a bar or something, you can get some pretty cool angles off of this. And then for tripods, so this is the big boy that I use, that I carry around. This is the newer LT32. It's a carbon fiber tripod. I guess it's like their version of the Peak design, which I want to get, but this has been working for me just fine. It has the quick release plate up top. This pretty much comes with me everywhere I go. Like when I'm traveling, I literally have like my camera attached to this with my tote bag and I'll carry this around the whole time. I wouldn't say that I fully don't care when I'm setting this up, and because it is a big tripod and like if you're in public, it's still a little bit odd, but I've started to care less about being more discreet, especially when I'm out in public. So I'll carry this around, I'll set it up sometimes inside of a store, sometimes inside of a restaurant if I'm feeling confident, but it is something I just carry around all the time. And then I use these two. These two are the mini tripods I use. This is the one I told you guys last time. It's nice because I feel like this is the perfect if you're just vlogging on the go. You can set it up. It's not too small, so you can get a decent angle, and then you can also go lower. It's a really nice tripod. And then the nice thing is this has a hook. You can get some pretty cool angles. This one is something I've been using a lot recently, which is, I don't know what this brand is, but I bought it off Amazon. It's a tabletop tripod, and then I attached a Ulanzi ball head to it, and then I also attached a quick release plate on top. So this is really nice because it's super tiny, like compared to even this one. It's much smaller, and I'll use this one at, you know, a restaurant if I want to set up at the table and I just want to talk to the camera. I actually got this idea from Kevin, when we were in Japan, I saw him with this like tiny tripod. It was the perfect setup. So I pretty much carry this with me whenever I go into a coffee shop. And then maybe I'll have this depending on the day. Another thing I'd like to show you guys is this. This is a camera cube. This is from Amazon. It's called Earth. It's a hard shell and it's about, I want to say like $70. So it's pretty expensive. But the nice thing is I can put it in any type of tote bag and it protects the camera, and I can bring my camera into like coffee shops without having to, you know, worry about it bouncing around. So yeah, that's all the camera equipment I have. It's a lot of stuff, but honestly, I feel like compared to what some people have, it's not even that much. I also have a C stand, which is over there. Like if you guys see that right there, I have that. You know, I feel like I use everything here. There's not usually a day where if I'm creating a full YouTube video where I don't use something. Maybe I'll stick with just a wide angle if I'm feeling lazy for vlogging. Camera equipment, I think, matters. It does matter to an extent, don't get me wrong. If you're trying to tell a story and trying to get certain shots that tell the story, like, it does matter. But to an extent, because if you're someone who you never use any camera equipment before and you start to buy the best of the best, and you don't even know how to use it, then it doesn't matter, right? Same thing with the camera that you have. If you don't know how to shoot log and then you buy like the FX3 and you're just shooting on standard, like it really doesn't make that big of a difference because you're not using it to the full extent. So, you know, take your time. I've accumulated these things throughout the years. It's just stuff that maybe I see someone do and I want to do something similar, and then I learn that they use this equipment and then I consider buying it or not. I want to keep it like somewhat minimal, but also be able to get the best content. This can all fit in a backpack and it's not too much, you know, because I'm typically on the go. Like I'm not really in a studio. I'm usually out and about shooting, and that's what you want with vlogging. You want it to be convenient. And if it's too much stuff for you where you have a big camera and you're, you know, too shy to set it up in public, if it's just too much where it's not that convenient, then you're not going to want to shoot. So hopefully this camera gear helps you guys out. On that note though, bruh, I just talked for like 10 minutes straight. Hopefully I can cut that down because that's just too long of a talking scene. But I'm gonna head out to a different part to do one more scene for this video. I want to go over shooting sequences and how to shoot, and then we can come back home for the editing process. Not gonna lie, putting the camera outside the car like that is always sketchy. No matter how secure it feels, literally always sketchy. But those shots are definitely worth it. I'm so happy with this new angle that we've gotten. Right now, I wanna go over some shooting settings. For shooting settings, if you want the cinematic look, you're gonna have to follow these rules. I promise you, at first it will seem intimidating, especially if you're coming from just shooting in a standard profile and just letting the camera do all the work. But it's not that hard to get a hand of. And once you do, it becomes secondhand nature. Number one, the 180-degree shutter rule. So this is pretty much standard for most like cinematic content. But you essentially want to put your frame rate on your camera to 24 frames per second. That's like the industry standard. And then you want to double your frame rate, and that's what your shutter speed should be. So for 24 frames per second, your shutter speed should be 48, but most cameras don't have that. So you'll do 1/50. Now you can use higher frame rates like 30 frames per second and 60, but only use those if you want to do slow motion, which honestly I never do. So mine pretty much stay at 24 frames per second. When you also shoot manual, you're also going to need this ND filter, which is the sunglasses for your camera. Because what happens is when you start to change your frame rate and aperture, it's going to mess up your lighting. And you need the ND filter on there to make sure that the lighting is good when you want to do different apertures. You'll learn to do all this, but please just go on YouTube and just look up some tutorials, because I promise you, I started doing this like a year ago, very much secondhand nature now. Now, the third thing is I shoot in log. So log is a very flat profile. I'm sure you've heard of it if you're in any type of content space. It's pretty much like all over nowadays, but like this is what it looks like straight out the camera. So it's very flat, it's gray, and there's no colors. But when you color grade like this is how you turn it into the different colors. I'll go over later on about color grading and what my process is for it, but I just figured I'd go with you guys as far as camera settings and how to set it up, because I know this part is hard for people, and I promise you, like, just start practicing shooting in log. What I did was I just hopped into it. I looked up some videos, I looked at some research of how to do it, and then I just started switching my camera around, and I put my settings to log, and I just never went back. There was one rule, is you have to overexpose your footage. Typically I overexpose to plus 1.5 to 2.0, and usually that way I can just bring the highlights down in post. Again, all this becomes super technical, and I can go on this for a lot longer, and I don't want to take up so much time with this part, but these are the settings you really want to do to make sure that you get the best looking footage. And again, I am not a filmmaker or cinematographer. There's so much I still need to learn and I want to learn. But if I can learn this in the last year, and that's like off of minimal like research, I promise you, you can too. Just start playing around with log footage, start playing around with the color grading, start using LUTs, and just like start to practice. If you don't use either Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve yet, I'm gonna say use DaVinci, because it's very easy to color grade on there, and it starts to make sense when you use it. Use whatever you want, and I promise you, like, CapCut can even color grade. So just don't be afraid of it and literally just start doing it. The hardest part is just turning the camera over to that log footage and starting to play with manual. It seems so scary at first, but once you do it enough times and you mess up enough times and you learn from those mess ups, then you will get the hang of it. You guys saw from the drone shot, it's so pretty, and I had a whole thing to, you know, sit down cinematically and talk around the sunset, but sun already set by the time I was getting here, and now here we're in the parking lot so we can have some light here. We're just gonna get the content out, and I think that's something I want to tell you guys is sometimes you just have to get the content out. Work with what you have and just get content out, because you can't keep waiting for the perfect moments. Like even today, I was running behind. If you start to wait too long, you may never get consistent. Here, I want to go over with you guys just shooting sequences and just like getting shots. Like you guys saw just now, I had the drone shot. I like to use drone shots as like a filler in between to establish like where I'm going to. Sometimes I'll use old drone shots just as a filler to, you know, get some B-roll in there. But I usually try to have the B-roll be specific to where I'm going. Like right now I'm going here, right? So I wanted to really get the drone shot here. I could have used any like B-roll footage from a stock footage or somewhere else, and I think there's a time and place for that, but there's something about, you know, that you put in your own work to get that footage, and it's relating to where you're gonna be. But when it comes to shooting in general, I think everyone has heard this before, the 3 different types of shots: wide angle, medium, close up. That's a pretty much a good rule of thumb for anyone to use. I don't really think about it a lot of times. I just think like, okay, I need a wide angle shot to show people where I'm at. Then I probably need to switch it up and get a little bit closer, and then maybe I'll throw in one detailed shot. And I try to just think that same rhythm each time. I sometimes will put 2 wide angle shots back to back. I don't think there's really a problem with that, as long as you're switching up your footage. I think the big thing is you have to switch up your footage, especially if you want to keep people engaged, because if all you have is talking like this, people are going to kind of check out, you know, which is why I put the B-roll in between, is because it kind of gives it a little break from just talking the whole time. Now, when it comes to filmmaking, I promise you guys, I am not technical. Like, I don't go out there and think about, oh, I need like to find this type of shot, or I need like leading lines. Honestly, I just go out there and just shoot what I enjoy, and whatever comes from it, comes from it. But I do think that I naturally kind of look for those things because I just enjoy looking at them. And maybe it's from watching so many movies or so many other content creators in the past, but that's what I do. I'll break it down based on what I've heard other people talk about. So leading lines are when you have 2 leading lines towards the subject, or you have like a little railways or walls. It helps you focus on the subject, whether it's the person walking or whatever it is. And then symmetry is something that I actually look for a lot. I think that's just something that I just feel like looks really clean. So if there's a scene like this morning, I don't know if you saw by the beach, but it was very symmetric, and I think that just looks super super pretty. So symmetry, leading lines, and then depth. Depth is something I'm really playing around with a lot of times, where I'll have the camera set it to the side and then I'll have it like with something, it's pretty much like with the foreground in front of it. And then it just shows that like there's some dimension in the footage, because like this doesn't look like there's any depth, right? But when you have other objects around that you can kind of place, and you can put anything, like you can put a pole, you can put a car. Another good composition is the rule of thirds. It's pretty much when you have the grid lines on your camera or your phone, and then you put your subject in the 1/3 spaces. Again, all this stuff, like I'm not very technical about. It's just stuff that I just practice and I just throw in my footage. And you know, when it looks good, it looks good. And if it doesn't look good, then I understand that that time was not the right place to use it. Other stuff I like to do is I like to bring people around. So I like to show action. If I'm like walking, I'll show my feet walking. With vlogs, you want to make the viewer feel like they're coming with you. So a lot of times if you're just putting out cinematic shots, then it doesn't really feel as much like a vlog anymore. So I'll have some handheld shots here and there. And yeah, you just want to kind of play around with it and have variety with vlogs, because you are showing them your life. There's only so much of your life you can show if you don't live a super interesting life. So getting fun with composition and colors and just having fun with the filming process throws a little bit more art. I don't know what the word is for it, but it just gives it a little bit more of an extra touch. Honestly though, like I told you in the beginning, don't over stress the shots you get. Get more shots than you need to, especially if you're just starting off. And then you'll find out what shots you really like, and then you'll just repeat those and keep learning from them. And watch content. Like I watch a lot of content, especially on my filming days. I'll watch over different content creators like Ron Doug, Kevin, David Perkins, like all these creators who I really look up to. I'll look at their content the day I'm filming to just get some ideas of what they're filming and how the different angles are working. Keep practicing and you'll find the shots you really enjoy, and then you'll also grow and learn different shots. There is nothing better than sitting down to edit your footage and you have a nice glass of wine and you know, you get a little bit wine tipsy while you're editing. It's the best feeling ever, and you're vibing out to like music that you have in your headphones, or I have R&B in the background. So this is the editing portion. And with editing, it's so personal that I'm hesitant to explain too much about it, because it is very hard for me to explain. Like I'm not a professional who can tell you the logistics of how to edit. I just kind of piece things together, and I think that's like part of the process that you learn. But I will say by far the two most asked questions I always get is, how do I find my music and color grading? So I think we'll go over this really quickly over here. I'll probably make a full video dedicated to editing at some point, but I think those two questions should cover at least for this video, because if you watch the last one, I talked about how to cut things up and you know, the 3-cycle process I go through. But when it comes to editing your own videos, I think just pay attention to the pacing. That's something I'm working on nowadays. Is if I have a long portion where I have some music in the background, then I'll probably have to cut it off and have some A-roll where there's talking scenes. And I think just being able to pay attention to, did you just have a full like minute of upbeat music? So let's calm it down a little bit. You want to like go through your whole video with these like up and down ebbs and flows, because you don't want to just have like this like super high intense fast paced music the whole time and then you just go through the whole video at this like speed. If you're working out, you want to pick like a fast beat, maybe like a J. Cole song or something, where push up the tempo a little bit. And then maybe you'll have a scene where you're showering and you're getting ready, but it's all ASMR. So I try to kind of like weave it in where it doesn't feel like it's just constant music, 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 music. I'll have like high paced music, then I'll maybe have a talking scene, then I'll maybe go into something more relaxing. Like it just has to fit the vibe. But when it comes to music, this is how I find my music. This video is sponsored by Psych. Got him! No, I wish. But I do use Epidemic Sounds a lot. Epidemic Sounds is the main one I pay for, and that's mostly because it's just easy. You can find music on there that's non-copyrighted. A girl I use a lot is King Sis. She makes R&B music, it's super vibey. Another guy that's really popular is Katori Walker. He makes like hip hop R&B music, but it's got some cool beats that you can kind of match up to. So Epidemic Sounds is something I use a lot. I use it a lot for sound effects too. I just found out they use Soundly, which is a sound effect library service. So they do use that. And then I also use another service called Licked. That's where you can find legit music. I think it's $15 for a monthly subscription, which I pay for, and then $8 per song. But honestly, for me, I'm like, $8 is like a cup of coffee, and I'm willing to have like good music without having like other beats and other stuff in the background. Now, when it comes to copyright free mixes, this is the part where I feel like a lot of other creators gatekeep, and I'm just gonna give it to you guys real quick. So YouTube, you can go look up copyright free R&B music on YouTube, and you'll have like a 25-minute video that has different songs in it, which they've already accumulated, and they're all copyright free. That's pretty much the easiest way. So SoundCloud is a little bit tougher, and I'm not going to do this in this video, but essentially what you do is you go through SoundCloud and you're going to find different artists that make mixes. You can look up Drake remix or Drake remake, pretty much finding DJ mixes of songs that they change up the beat where it doesn't get caught by the YouTube copyright service, whatever they use. So you'll find that song, and then you'll just look up on Google SoundCloud downloader. That'll download the songs from SoundCloud, and once you download it, I would suggest maybe taking like 2 hours of a day and just looking through different music. It does become a headache, which is why I'm not going to do it right now. But you can look through 2 hours worth of songs, just take your time to look through it, and then download a bunch of them. Download like 20 of them, put them into CapCut or your video editing software, and then download that video with no image, but just download it as an MP4. And then you can upload it to YouTube and let it test to see which songs get caught. That's what I found to be the best, because then at least you can have this library that like I've built up that I know is copyright free, and I can go in there and I can use that music. It does take time, and it's a little bit more annoying, but you can find good copyright free songs that have like cool beats on it. And that's how I think most creators find it on SoundCloud. Once you do it enough times, you'll be able to hear, like, if it's a Drake song, you'll hear like the beats a little bit different, or maybe they reverb the voice. You can kind of assume maybe that it could go through, but you'll want to download it and then test it before you do anything else. Because if you just upload it to YouTube with your full video that you after everything, and then it gets caught, then you have to delete that video, re-edit the video. It becomes a whole process, and I've had that happen where my uploads come up like a day late or something. Now let's go over color grading. So a lot of you guys ask me if I have a LUT or if I use any LUTs, and like, truth be told, I don't have my own LUT. I use power grades, and I use other creators' power grades, and I've tweaked it to my own. So power grades are kind of like LUTs on DaVinci Resolve, but the difference is, instead of just having a LUT that you just plug in and then it's like a filter, power grades are essentially different gears that you can alter, but it gives you the layout. So I learned how to color grade based on power grades. I think the best way to explain this is if I just show you the screen, and I'll just go over it really quickly. Again, this is really technical, so I don't have enough time to fill it into this video, but hopefully this little thing helps you guys out. So here I have a footage that's not graded. The reason why I use power grades over LUTs is because, let's say we use this LUT, right? This is Adrian Purr's LUT. It's like a filter, but it doesn't allow you to adjust it, because what DaVinci Resolve uses are nodes. So if I show you a graded footage, these are nodes, and it looks very complicated, but essentially it's like a timeline. It's like layers if you put on it. A LUT on DaVinci Resolve doesn't let you adjust each little portion of it, and doesn't give you as much control. So here on the left-hand side, I have a bunch of different power grades I've saved. So power grades I've used before. Adrian Purr is a good one. I would suggest his. Andrew Paul, he has a one-click power grade, which I've used before. It really does get the job done, and I would actually suggest his too. But the one I've been really using recently was based off of Gakuyen's power grade. And I'm going to show you, these are my Sony power grades that I've now altered for myself. And after a while, you start to understand how power grades work. You can create your own power grade and adjustments based on what you like, and then essentially you're using their node structure. So if I show you like my Sony power grades here, let's say I just copy what I've already used. So this one is the power grade structure I use now, and essentially on DaVinci Resolve, each node is a different adjustment. It's a way of separating things. Since I want to keep this part simple, I'm just going to show you guys what I alter the most when it comes to these like power grades and these nodes. First, I'll go exposure. Exposure typically will be like what you alter first, because if the footage looks off, just see if you can alter the exposure, and sometimes that'll bring it right into like the correct color you want. So once you do that, then you can go through the white balance. You'll find a look that you like. So I typically like brighter colors. I like it to be a little bit more overexposed on the image. I don't really like super dark images unless I'm really going for that mood. But most of the time with my vlogs, I want it to be a little bit brighter. I feel like it gives off a little bit more of a happier mood, I guess. For the white balance, I like warmer tones. I think that's something that I just naturally enjoy like when I watch it. So this would be more of a blue tone. I prefer it to be a little bit warmer on my side, but again, these are personal preference things. The other one I use a lot recently is the skin tone. So this is the color slice. The color slice here has all these different colors that you can alter, and skin is right here where you can just change the skin tone. So I use this a lot. And then what I'll do is if I have any colors I really want to boost, right? So the blue here, you can boost the different individual colors here, make it more vibrant if you like that color tone. Another node I use a lot is the glow. So glow essentially gives you that if you have the sun behind you or if you have any lights, it gives it a little glow behind it, and it just makes it feel a little bit warmer and more cinematic. So with the glow, because this is a qualifier, you'll be able to click on like where the image is that you want to brighten. And then what I'll do is I'll go here to the radius, and then you can bring up the radius, and you'll see like behind me, you'll see it blurs a little bit, but because of the blur, it'll brighten up that glowing area. As far as nodes go, I would say those are the most. And then another one I use at nighttime or like darker images is denoise. DaVinci Resolve does a very good job at taking down the noise. You can just turn up the luma and chroma, and then you can change it to like better or frames to 3. I honestly don't know the exact technicalities of it, but this is essentially how I color grade. I'll usually use a power grade. Nowadays, like if you look at this side, it says my Sony moments. These are just different moments of different vlogs that I have. And what you do is you'll right click and do grab still, and that literally grabs you the color and the power grade of this. So then in the future, I can just drag it over. So I have so many other ones that I've used now and I've altered for the look I enjoy. But I would highly suggest, if you are using DaVinci Resolve, to learn how to color grade using power grades, because power grades are essentially other people's node structure, and then you can use their node structure and learn from it. If you're already a creator, you might have your own structure to how you do things, but this is how I do it, and it works for me, and it gets good images out, and it gets me consistent. So hopefully this editing portion helps you guys out. Again, editing is a very technical, and there's so many different versions to do it that, you know, I was hesitant to make this because I'm not a professional editor or colorist, but I figured I'd share with you guys. And, you know, I'm not shy to say that I use other people's power grades, because that's how I learn. And I think there's no reason why you should be shy about it too. Guys, real quick, I just spoke for like 8 minutes on camera, and I hope this video doesn't become super long because of that. But I didn't go over the technicalities of DaVinci Resolve, because I feel like I'm not the right person to explain it, and I wouldn't even know how to explain it. I will make an editing video that explains more of my editing process. Maybe I'll just take you by step, and how to use like the color wheels and how to use everything. But hopefully that gave you enough info to at least understand that power grades are very useful, and especially if you're starting off, to use them and learn from them. But yeah, I was just thinking about like, did I give you guys even good info there? And I hope I did. This part of San Diego is probably one of my favorite parts. It's called Bankers Hill, and compared to, I used to live downtown, compared to downtown, it's got that downtown energy, but it's so much more relaxed. Like, it's such a nice vibe over here. With this last part of the video, I want to go over storytelling and just building a story around your vlogs. Now, this is something I'm still working on, so take everything with a grain of salt and just understand that I'm just documenting my process, and things will probably change in the future. I told you guys in the last video that if you guys don't know what to document, or you don't have anything to document something that you're taking on, like a challenge. Like for me, it's marathon prep, behind the scenes with content, and just document what you have going on. If you don't have anything going on, then that should almost be a sign for you to pick something up, right? If you feel like your life is just super boring and mundane, then maybe sign up for a filmmaking class, or maybe start learning to take on, I don't know, boxing skills. You always want to have like your work quest, the thing you focus on for work, but then you want to have like a life main quest. And that's just something that you do outside of work that you are pursuing and targeting. When it comes to old school vlogging, I know people usually just, bring you along their day, bring you along their life. But I think nowadays, if you want to stand out, you want to try to build around a story through your vlogs, especially if your life is kind of the same. For example, my life, the routine is very similar every week. Like I run, I work, do content, I edit. Unless your life is very entertaining, and I think of like Daniel Dalen, or I think of full-time creatives like Kevin, Ron, David, like all these people, if your life isn't super entertaining by the content itself, then you want to try to think of a story to make it more entertaining, right? And typically what I like to do is I journal a lot. I journal every single day. I try to always have a note on my phone where I can jot down like a inspirational thought or idea that comes to my mind. If I'm listening to a podcast, I'll jot it down, because then you can at least share the idea. And what I try to do is now thematic vlogs. Essentially, I try to have a theme for the video of the vlog. So let's say this week I was listening to Alex Hormozy, and a topic that always comes up is the lonely chapter. And that's when you're working and you're in this lane of yours and you're not really relating to the people around you, but you're not close enough to the people you want to get to yet. So let's say you went with that theme. You can always call back to the vlog while you're documenting your process, right? Because it's something you're going through. Like if you're documenting your marathon prep and you're usually running alone, and then you go immediately into editing and you're working alone, and you love your routine and you love your process of it, then you can call back to that main theme. That's what I've been trying to do, is find a common theme or message for each video I have, whether it's something I learned or something I'm going through. And typically it's one of those two. It's something that has really resonated with me heavily that I just heard, or I'm just going through it at the moment and I just want to share it with you guys. And I know I've seen a couple of your comments. You guys have said, you appreciate how vulnerable and how real some of the footage is. I'm really happy to hear that, because that is the message I'm trying to get to you guys, is you guys are coming along this journey with me. I'm not telling you guys how to get there. I'm just sharing with you guys along the way. And if you're going through it at the same time, or you're trying to also do the same thing, hopefully these videos help. So I think having a common core message and theme that goes through your video that you can call back on is super helpful. So that's essentially how I vlog nowadays. Your videos will change, your style is gonna change, and you will find your own rhythm. I think in the beginning when I first started creating content, I was so scared of being a copycat. I would make a video a certain way, or I would do a shot a certain way, or I would say something. And I've come to realize that if you guys ever get the chance, read the book Steal Like an Artist, because there's a saying that goes, you copy from one person, it's called stealing, but if you copy from multiple people, it's called art. And that's something I'm trying to remind myself each time that I create content, is you can get ideas from multiple people. I have a list of creatives that I go to for short form and long form content ideas, and I just pull things from them, whether it's the way they say something or deliver a message, or if it's the way they film or the way they piece together a video. And I try to piece it into my own style. And I think that's when you form your own style of video making. And just don't be afraid to copy something from someone, because nowadays, especially in a short form, you hear it all the time, but you're like, oh, this person copied me. But realistically, they probably copied it from someone else, and that person probably got the idea from someone else. So it's okay to take inspiration, just don't be an exact copycat. If you're someone who is interested in longevity, you will get called out very quickly when you're in, like I've seen a video that looks exactly like another creator's, and I know, I'm like, okay, that's just not creativity. But if you take ideas from it and then you learn from it and you grow, then you build your own style. Don't overthink it, just create content. If you have an idea, get it out there. Like if you feel a pull to share an idea and you really want to just make content, then just start making videos, because I promise you, it is so rewarding. Like I know our little family is still growing right now, but it's so rewarding when I see a comment that someone's like, oh, I was feeling the exact same way, or I was going through that same thing. Or even when people come up to me nowadays, the very few times, and they say, I watch your YouTube video and keep going, like it's super inspiring to see you doing this. I'm like, bro, that's the best feeling ever, because you're able to find people who have that similar mindset. Not many people around me listen to, Chris Williamson or Diary of a CEO, like these people that I really enjoy listening to. But online, there's so many people that do, that resonate with the same videos I'm making. So you know, if any of that entices you, then I suggest just picking up the camera, start filming, and just get your ideas out there. And at some point, you'll find your own creative style. On that note, I'm gonna let you guys go. I've been out here for a bit. I won't even lie, I've taken like 5 different takes here, and 5, like this ending of this video has been a little struggle. So this is just the name of the game. But I'm gonna finish off this coffee. The coffee is from James Coffee Company out here in San Diego. San Diego has some fire coffee shops, I'm not gonna lie, guys. If you guys ever come visit, let me know, because I have a list of like 100 different coffee shops. But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know if you guys want me to do a deeper dive on filmmaking, on editing, also my creative workflow. Those are videos I definitely want to make for this series. But let me know what you guys thought of this How to Vlog series and the last one, because the last one got really good feedback. I'm hoping this one does too. But regardless, I'm enjoying making these videos, and I'm learning a lot from this whole process too. So I will talk to you guys later. Peace.